Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Unfiltered and Unapologetic, the space where we talk about healing, self awareness, emotional growth, mindset, and becoming the version of you that actually feels aligned, not just looks put together on the outside. I'm your host, Caitlin Gil-Soto. I was born and raised in Lawrence, Massachusetts, but grew up going back and forth from Bani and El Cibao, and proudly Dominicana. And today's episode is something I want you to really sit with because there's a version of you that already has what you've been asking for: more peace, more clarity, more stability, more money, better relationships. That version of you already exists. And the reason it can feel frustrating sometimes is because it feels like you're waiting for your life to change. But you're not waiting. You're just not aligned with that version of you yet. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't time. It's how it feels to be you every day. A lot of people think that they have to become someone completely different to get what they want. Like it's this faraway version of them that they have to chase. But that's not actually how it works. You're not creating a brand new version of yourself. You're shifting into one that already exists. And the difference between you now and that version of you isn't just what they have. It's how it feels to be them. Because you don't live from what you know. You live from what you feel. And that version of you thinks differently. Yes, but more than that. They feel different on a daily basis. They feel more grounded, more secure, more trusting, more calm in moments that used to trigger them. And that's why their life looks different. Because their emotional baseline is different. And your life will always reflect that. I have the first journal prompt here for you guys. What would feel different in my daily life if I already had what I want? And the affirmation for this question is, I align with the version of me who already holds what I desire. And this is the part where people get frustrated. Why you don't have it yet? Because they know what they want, they've thought about it, they've visualized it, they've even tried to change their habits, but their life still feels the same. And it's because you still feel like your current self. You might say you want peace, but your body is used to stress. You might say you want stability, but you're still moving from urgency and pressure. You might say you want more, but deep down it still feels like lack. And your system will always return to what feels familiar, even if it's not what you want anymore. That's why you don't get what you want. You get what feels normal. And this is also why manifestation can feel confusing, because you can't hold something consistently if your body doesn't feel safe experiencing it. I have another prompt here for you guys. What emotional state am I living in that doesn't match what I say I want? And the affirmation for this question is, I release the emotional patterns that no longer match my future. So now, how do you know you're still operating from your old self? And I want to bring this into real life for a second, because sometimes this work can feel very internal, very conceptual, but it shows up in really small everyday ways. This is how you know you're operating from your old version of yourself. You overthink things that are actually simple. You feel anxious when things are finally calm. You second guess yourself even when you already know what to do. You feel like everything has to happen fast, or it's not going to happen at all. You don't fully trust when things are going well. You're just waiting for something to go wrong. And none of that means something is wrong with you. It just means your body is still used to your old baseline. It's still used to the version of you that had to survive, that had to stay alert, that had to anticipate things going wrong. So even when your life starts to shift, you're still responding like your old self. And this is important to recognize because a lot of people think, I'm doing the work, so why do I still feel like this? And it's because awareness doesn't automatically change your reactions. You have to start noticing them in real time. You have to start catching the moments where you go back to what's familiar and gently choosing something different. Not perfectly, just consciously, because that's how you shift. Not in big moments, but in the small ones you usually overlook. And I have another prompt here for you guys. Where in my life am I reacting from my old version instead of my aligned one? And the affirmation for this question is, I become aware of when I return to old patterns and I choose differently. So, you have to start becoming them now. So the shift isn't, I need to wait until my life changes. The shift is, I need to start experiencing myself differently now. And this is where people misunderstand the work. It's not about pretending, it's not about forcing, it's about practicing in small, normal moments. How do you respond to stress? How do you talk to yourself when something doesn't go your way? Do you spiral or do you pause? Do you react or do you choose something different? Because the version of you who already has what you want doesn't move the same way you do now. And you don't become that version overnight. You practice them daily. I have another prompt for you guys. How would I show up today if I was already that version of me? And the affirmation for this question is, I practice becoming that version of myself in the small moments. So, why does this feel uncomfortable? And this part is important because this is where most people stop. When it starts to feel different, when things start to feel unfamiliar, when peace feels uncomfortable, because your body is used to something else. It's used to tension, to overthinking, to pressure. So when things get calm, your nervous system doesn't relax. It questions it. It tries to go back. And a lot of people think that means something is wrong. But it doesn't. It means you're expanding. Discomfort doesn't always mean misalignment. Sometimes it means you're finally experiencing something new. I have another prompt for you guys. Where in my life does something feel good, feel unfamiliar right now? And the affirmation for this question is, I allow myself to stay in what feels new. You don't need more time, you need a new baseline. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You don't need to become a completely different person overnight. You need to change how it feels to be you on a daily basis because your life is built from that. If it still feels like stress, you'll keep recreating stress. If it still feels like lack, you'll keep recreating lack. But when it starts to feel like calm, like trust, like stability, your life starts building from that instead. And that's the shift. You're not waiting for your life to change. You're learning how to feel different inside of it. I have another prompt here for you guys. What would it feel like to live from calm, trust, or abundance daily? And the affirmation for this question is, I am allowed to feel different before my life looks different. But this is where most people go back. And this is the part nobody really talks about. Because this is where everything can start to shift, or where people go right back to who they used to be. This is the in-between, when things are not as hard as they used to be, but they're not fully what you want yet. when your life is starting to change, but it doesn't fully feel like you. That space can feel uncomfortable because you're not your old self anymore, but you don't fully feel like your new self yet either. And in that space, a lot of people go back to old habits, old thought patterns, old emotional reactions, not because they want to stay there, but because it feels familiar. And familiarity feels safe, even when it's not what you want. So, this is the moment that matters. The moment where you feel the urge to go back, but you don't. The moment where you choose to stay in what feels new, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's quiet, even if it doesn't fully like you yet. Because that's how you become that version of you. Not by waiting for it to feel natural, but by staying in it long enough until it does. I have the last prompt here for you guys. Where in my life do I feel in between and feel tempted to go back? And the affirmation for this question is, I trust myself to stay in what feels new even when it's unfamiliar. I want to leave you with this. The version of you who already has what you want is not far away. You're just not fully aligned with them yet. And that doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're being invited to become. So instead of asking, when is my life going to change? Start asking, how can I start feeling different today? Because that's where everything begins. Now we are going to end with a prayer. So take a deep breath and put your hands on your chest. Dear God, thank you for showing me that I don't have to chase a different life. I just have to align with a different version of myself. Help me slow down enough to notice how I feel each day and to gently shift what no longer feels aligned. Give me the patience to grow into this version of me without rushing, without forcing. Help me trust what is new, even when it feels unfamiliar, and remind me that I am not behind. I am becoming. Amen. If this episode resonated with you and you felt seen in any way, there are a few ways you can support Unfiltered and Unapologetic. You can leave a review, a rating, or a comment on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I read them and they truly mean a lot to me. It also helps that this message reaches more people who need it. If you want to support the podcast on a deeper level, you can contribute monthly through Buzzsprout. Everything goes back into the show, into growing this, sustaining this, and keeping it going. And if you're looking for a space to reflect, to write, to process, you can shop my blank journals on Amazon, created with intention for your healing. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for sharing, for growing with me. Choosing on purpose. And don't forget to follow the podcast on TikTok and Instagram at Unfill and Unapologetic Pod. See you in the next episode.